Hello, and welcome back to Wild Thoughts with your host, The Big Bang. Whew, man, I'm a little bit disappointed, but I got to move on. Yesterday, I did another knowledge drip. Let me turn this down. Yesterday, I did knowledge drip July 2nd, and today, of course, is July 3rd. I did a knowledge drip on July 2nd, and when I went to post it, my cell phone just went and I don't know, it just turned off because I got an iPhone 7, and you know how they start making that shit terrible as the older it gets. You know how they do that. So you buy the next iPhone 10. You know what I'm saying? So right when I'm about to upload it, and I'm pressing save, and it just turns off right then and there. After I had just done all of this new stuff that I had written down that day. But luckily for you guys, I got more written down. So we're going to get into that today. I thought it was pretty cool. And then another thing we're going to finish, which I did yesterday as well, in the other podcast that did not upload. We're going to finish the 6 basic fears. And we're going to go over the self-confidence formula again. Why? Because it's amazing. I like the self-confidence formula. It really helps. And I appreciate the self-confidence formula. And if you don't appreciate it, that's fine. You could probably just write it down, and then you could read it yourself. Or you could just get the book and read it yourself, or write it down or memorize it for yourself. But it's really good to hear that over and over again. And today we got to get into our sponsors. Our sponsors today are the clouds. Now you might be wondering why the clouds. Well, why the clouds? The clouds are a form of a lake, form of a pure water, so pure that it's lighter than gravity. Well, I don't know how lighter than gravity, but it's pretty lighter than gravity. It's pretty lighter than us, even though if you get a gallon of it, it weighs 8 pounds. But when it's up there floating around, it's weightless, going through some type of weird thing that everyone thinks they might know how to explain, but it probably isn't even true on how to explain how it would work even. And the clouds, they just form over and over again, and it looks like they're pushing through the middle of it sometimes. And when it pushes through the middle of it, it just pushes it through, and it goes around to the outside. So the inner comes to the outside, and that's what it looks like. So the inner comes around to the outer side, and then the outer side goes back into the inner side. And it's kind of like a wheel of perpetual motion pushing itself toward its destination to let go of that water. It's weird that the river will, keep the water in the air just like that and not let it drop continuously. And it will let it go once it accumulates enough weight, just like it is right now here where I live. It's about to start raining, probably. Lightning, thunder, big gray clouds coming overhead. And when it rains where I live, it's pretty dope because all the lightning and the thunder. So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll hear some thunder. And, the thunder will shake the house. If we're lucky, of course. And then, what else would I want to do today? I guess that's it. Oh, yeah, I want to do some more affirmations. So I got a lot of affirmations today. But first, I want to jump into the story. I don't know what to name it. I wrote it today. So I figured I would just say it on the knowledge drip. That is, and let all the listeners decide what type of story this is, because I have yet to figure it out and I'm still deciding. So I figured, why not ask for people's opinion? If you want to write into the show and give your opinion on what this little short story should be called, you can write in at reflife32@gmail.com. When you write into there, I'll probably read it. And if whoever has the best story, I guess you know what I need? I need a Facebook page, somewhere where you guys can instantly gravitate and talk real smooth and fast. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Where it can be live. But, maybe it doesn't have to be live. Maybe it's live at that moment. But, we'll think about that. So, just write into that show number if you want. And then also, if you want to call in, you can call in at... Just kidding, I don't have a phone. yet. Of course, we're going to be getting one soon for all the listeners that want to call in. All right, here we go. We're going to start around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And we're going to go over this story that was written today that the listeners are coming up with a name for. All right, here we go. I'm breathing. You breathing? A battery in the life. A power cell to name a human becoming. This is a true story of a drone looking to find its way to a power source. For the drone's owners had not taken care of the drone's battery source. The owner abused the drone by placing it under all the heat and cold, making it overwork the process of its natural selection. Never to struggle, the drone continues its mindless task, always performing day or night, always giving its best efforts to be noticed by the owner. The indigenous thoughts and endless wave patterns of motion and energy, and thrusted upon by vibrations of endless battery. The drone continually and thoughtful pushed on, demanding that the owner of the drone reward him for his service. And yet the life of the battery never opened, and the tongue of the battery has never waved a question. For the drone was unaware of its ability to know that it could ask. The drone continued its battery operation, just unconsciously aware of its true power that had been lurking in the shadows the whole time. The drone went a whole 1 year, knowing that it longed to be the owner, but never flew too close to taking the actions of actually becoming the owner. So the drone continued on wasting its eternal battery on nothing but the wishes of its owner, never truly realizing that the power of its eternal flame would eventually get less oxygen and more work placed before it, drowning the drone to a state of worship to the owner. For finally, the owner had taken over the drone's body after 2 years. But little did the owner know that this was just a start of this young drone's life, for the drone was only 2 years old at this point, and the drone had been watching and studying the habits of its owner. Still too young to speak, the drone dabbled in the art of mimic or copycat. After 10 years of the drone watching and acting and professing its unalmighty love and admiration for the same things as the owner, the drone was moving along, following the footprints of the owner, liking and disliking all the same things, for unto the drone this was all he knew, and even more unto the drone did the drone know that the owner would one day take his own life. Did the owner know how much a demise slipping down the stairs was? For the owner had now stopped its breath, and the drone was able to take the first breath without the owner there. What is this little drone to do? How is this little drone to act? All these unfamiliar feelings begin to rush. The circuit boards were beginning to fire and disconnect from the source that the owner had so forcefully put on the drone. For the first time, the drone was lucky enough to ask why. Asking was new to the drone and had yet to understand what it was. The feelings of being able to think for its first time. Not just thinking what would make my owner happy, but finally thinking what would make I exaggerated and brilliant in life. The drone would continue to expect the same idea patterns as the owner did for him, But now, his pattern was changed. The drone asked, why? After another 10 years, the drone had finally figured out that these atomic clock tickings was his own part in life. All right, so you know what to do. That was the end of that little great story there. So I don't know what you guys thought of it. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know where to put it. I don't know what to call it yet. So if you have any good ideas, if you're like, man, I heard something in there and I really like this idea, maybe you can call it this, or you can just write into this show whatever you want to write in. Who am I to say what you can and cannot write? So once again, that was it. Now I want to jump into some affirmations while the clouds begin to pour rain onto our city streets and cool them down. It was like 106 degrees today here where I live, so now it's raining hard. So let the ground cool, let the cars cool, let the trees cool, and allow all that water giving life to come back unto us so that we can keep on breathing till tomorrow, and hopefully keep on breathing till tomorrow, or hopefully not. You never know. So, yep. Let's get into these affirmations, and then we will go over and finish the last of the 3 basic fears, because I'm going to do it again for the 3rd time. Because as you remember, at the beginning of the podcast, it was all deleted. So, yep, it's okay though. It's all right. That's why we write shit down. And then when we write shit down, we can easily recall what we wrote down and fill in the blanks later. And you probably make it better going around the 2nd time anyways. All right, here we go. Let's get into these affirmations right here. Here we go. We're going to start right at like 12:15. So take a break. I am alive. I am not trapped in others' minds. I am believable. I am my thoughts' creation. I am thankful for the clouds. Hey, that's our sponsor, the clouds. I am the energy force of what is. I am the power to harness the energy. I am allowing myself to be confident. I am possible because I feel breath. I am awareness of my dream. I am a great dancer. I am in confidence with myself. I am a reject of the prison system. I am an evil demon. I am a person of great intention. I am alive. I am thankful for my surroundings. I am a person that will follow real leaders. I am grateful for life. I am popular in my own thoughts. I am a positive person. I am a delusional in my thoughts, but not my actions. I am a person of pathology. I am a great observer. I am a positive in my actions. I am grateful for the ability to write. I am surrounded by the best things I want. I am grateful for my sands. I am the motherfucking shit. I am aware of my life. I am the person I want to be. I am a human becoming. I am a scanner of life. I am a filler of words. I am a great ponderer of life. I am in a mind state at all times that I want to be in. I am going to have all the money come unto me. I am thankful for the money I have now. I am building a career for my ever now. I am a person that I want. I am living my best life. I am grateful for my ability to create. I am so for my future. I am proud of my life. I can believe that I am grateful. I will make my dreams come to me. I have the ability to create what I want. I see the possibility of my words and thoughts. I create my future, though. I continue to grow. I have the ability to be grateful. I am the best I can do. I am the biggest thought of my life. I am so glad for the knowledge drip. Alright, guys and women and everyone else out there listening, that is all I have for those affirmations today. It was quite a bit. I mean, that was, let's see, there's 2 pages of them. So 2 pages that I got to get out of my brain and onto the paper and onto the words, and just feels good to say what you think every once in a while. And also, I wrote down, like, let's see, how many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got like 5 pages that I got just from yesterday and today, but we read 3 of them, so I guess we got 2 more pages from yesterday, and I only did 1 of them on the affirmations. Then the other one is a story, and guess what? I'm gonna give it to you, but not today. I can't give it to you right now. Why? Because as we say around the 16-minute marks, and after the second story, cliffhangers. I need to keep you interested in what's going on here. So there you go. That's that for those affirmations. And maybe tomorrow on July 4th, as the fireworks explode overhead, we'll jump into the what is can be said about what I had written down today, the cliffhanger. But now that is out of the way, I'm getting ready to start the 6 basic fears. And once we start the 6 basic fears, we're going to finish them today. Why? Because we've already done the first 3 basic fears. Now, while you sit back and try to remember all 6 basic fears, which you probably do, because you're probably a genius, but if you're not, then let me go over the first 3 that we went over. The first 3 of the 6 basic fears we went over today was the fear of poverty, the fear of old age, and the third one is the fear of criticism. Now we're going to get into the 4th, 5th, and 6th today. But before we start that, take that quick 10 minutes at the 18-minute mark and drink some Powerade or Gatorade or water or beer or whatever you got. Here we go. 18-minute marks, somewhere around there. The 4th basic fear is the fear of loss of love of someone. Let me say that again. The 4th one is the fear of loss of love of someone. The fear of ill health. The fear of ill health. And the 6th and final one is the fear of death. So let's just jump right into this right here. Let's just get this over with. All right, here we go. For the 100th time reading this. The fear of loss of love of someone, the source from which this fear originated, needs but little description, for it is obvious that it grew out of man's nature to still his fellow man's mate, or at least to take liberties with her, unknowing to her rightful lord and master. By nature, all men are polygamous. The statement of a truth which will, of course, bring denials from those who are either too old to function in a normal way sexually, or have from some other cause lost the contents of certain glands which are responsible for man's tendency toward the plurality of the opposite sex. There can be but little doubt that jealousy and all other similar forms of more or less mild dementia proxy or insanity grow out of man's inherited fear of the love of love. Oh my goodness, that is like a tongue twister. Let me say that whole thing again. Grew out of man's inherited fear of the loss of love of someone. That was hard to say. It's a tongue twister. Of all the sane fools studied by this author, that represented by a man who has become jealous of some woman, or that of a woman who has become jealous of some man, is the oddest and strangest. The author, unfortunately, never had but one case of personal experience with this form of insanity. But from that experience, he learned enough to justify him in stating that the fear of the loss of love of someone is one of the most painful, if not in fact the most painful, of all the 6 basic fears. And it seems reasonable to add that this fear plays more havoc with the human mind than do any of the other 6 basic fears, often leading to more violent forms of permanent insanity. The 5th basic fear is that of the fear of ill health. The fear has its origin to considerably extent also in the same sources from which the fears of poverty and old age are derived. The fear of ill health need be closely associated with both poverty and old age, because it also leads toward the border line of terrible worlds, of which man knows not, but of which he has heard some discomforting stories. The author strongly suspects that those engaged in the business of selling good health methods have had considerable to do with keeping the fear of ill health alive in the human mind. For longer than the record of the human race can be relied upon, the world has known of various and sundry forms of therapy and health purveyors. If a man gains his living from keeping people in good health, it seems but natural that he would use every means at his command for persuading people that they need his service. Thus, in time, it might be that people who would inherit a fear of ill health. The 6th and last of the 6 basic fears is that of the fear of death. Too many is the worst of all the 6 basic fears, and the reason why it is so regarded becomes obvious to even the casual student of physiology. The terrible pangs of fear associated with death may be charged directly to religious fanaticism, the source which is more responsible for it than all other sources combined. So-called heathen and are not as much afraid of death as are the civilized, especially that portion of the civilized population which has come under the influence of theology. For hundreds of millions of years, man has been asking the still unanswered, and it may be the unanswerable question, whence and whither? Where did I come from, and where am I going after death? The more cunning and crafty, as well as the honest but credulous of the race, have not been slow to offer the answers to these questions. In fact, the answering of these questions has become one of so-called learned professions, despite the fact that but little learning is required to enter this profession. Witness now the major source of origin of the fear of death. Come into my tent, embrace my faith, accept my dogmas, and pay my salary, and I will give you a ticket that will admit you straight away into the heaven when you die, says the leader of one form of Socratism. Remain out of my tent, says the same leader, and you will go directly to hell, where you will burn throughout eternity. While in fact the self-appointed leader may not be able to provide safe conduct into heaven, nor by lack of such provision allow the unfortunate seeker after truth to descend into hell. The possibilities of the latter seem so terrible that it lays hold of the mind and creates the fear of death. In truth, no man knows, and no man has ever known, what heaven or hell is like, or if such place exists, And this very lack of definite knowledge opens the door of the human mind to charlatan to enter and control that mind with his stock of legendary mane and various brands of trickery, deceit, and fraud. Dun dun dun. The truth is, nothing less and nothing more, that no man knows, nor has any man ever known where we come from at birth or where we go at death. Any person claiming otherwise is either deceiving himself or he is a conscious impostor who makes it a business to live without rendering service of value through play upon the credulity of humanity. Be it said, in their behalf, however, the majority of those engaged in selling tickets into heaven actually believe not only that they know where heaven exists, but that their creeds and formulas will give safe passage to all who embrace them. This belief may be summoned upon in one word: credulity. Religious leaders generally make the broad, sweeping claim that the present civilization owes its existence to the work done by the churches. This author, as far as he is personally concerned, is willing to grant their claims to be correct, if at the same time he be permitted to add that even if this claim be true, the theologians haven't a great deal of which to brag. But it is cannot be true that the civilization has grown out of the efforts of the organized churches and creeds, if by the term civilization is meant the uncovering of the natural laws and the many inventions to which the world is the present heir. If the theologians which to claim that part of the civilization which has to do with man's conduct towards his fellow man, they are perfectly welcome to it, as far as this author is concerned. But on the other hand, if they presume to gobble up the credit for all scientific discovery of mankind, the author begs to offer vigorous protest. You are fortunate if you have learned the difference between temporary defeat and failure. Most fortunate still if you have learned that the truth, the very seed of success, is dormant in every defeat that you experience. All right, guys, ladies, whatever. We are done with the 6 basic fears. I hope you enjoyed them. I really enjoyed them. I'm glad we got to go through all those again and again and again. And that's all right, because we're just learning to get this shit down. Now that we are almost done today, we are at 28 minutes and 10, 15, 20, 37 seconds. Who gives a shit? I'm going to finish with the self-confidence creed, and then I'm going to upload it, and then I'm going to go lay down because I'm tired. So let's start at the 29-minute mark, and then after we start at the let's start at the 45-second mark. 28:45. When we start at the 28:45 second mark, just remember, this is the self-confidence formula. You should have it down by now. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, aggressive, and continuous action towards its attainment. I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind eventually reproduce themselves in an outward bodily action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate on my mind for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to be, by creating a mental picture of this person and then transforming that picture into reality through practical service. I know that through the principle of auto-suggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of realizing it. Therefore, I shall devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of the factors named in the 16 lessons of this reading course on the law of success. I have clearly mapped out and written down a description of my definite purpose in life. For the coming 5 years, I have set a price on my service. For each of these 5 years, a price that I intend to earn and receive through strict application of the principle of efficient, satisfactory service which I will render in advance. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to me the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because I will first serve them. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my entire life, so that I will become a successful and happy worker in my chosen field of endeavor. Big bang. Whew, all right, well, that's all I got for right now. I'm going to make some food, and then I'm going to go sleep. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, so we're going to be banging out some big shit for the 4th of July on the Wild Thoughts podcast. Oh my goodness. Did I really say, I kept saying podcast. Why can't I say knowledge drip? The Wild Thoughts knowledge drip, that is. And guys, this has been Wild Thoughts with your host, The Big Bang. Until next time, bye.